The Center for Employment Opportunities in Oklahoma City has been providing opportunities since 2013. We're here to learn about those specific opportunities from this gentleman right here, Pat Bicklin. Good to meet you, sir.
Great to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
You're with CEO OKC as the director, and let's just start right there before we dive into some of the specifics. What is CEO?
So the Center for Employment Opportunities is a nonprofit organization that specifically serves individuals returning to the community from prison and jail. And so we offer immediate, comprehensive, and effective employment services for these individuals returning to Oklahoma City, as we know that many of them are going to face barriers upon their reentry to our community. And so
whether that's stigmas or whether that's other obstacles.
Exactly. And so, you know, when someone is released from prison or jail, you mentioned the stigma, they have a felony conviction, finding a job becomes difficult, right? Because they have to check a box on an application that says, yes, I have been convicted of a felony. And so our goal is to enroll them in our program. We actually provide them with an immediate opportunity to earn income. So they work for us part-time with public works projects across the cities of Oklahoma City, Moore, and Edmond. And so while they're doing that, they're earning a daily paycheck. We're also helping them on how to speak with employers in an interview, how to address their felony conviction, how to fill out applications correctly so that when they do get that opportunity to actually speak with an employer for a full-time job, they can nail that interview and get the job. And we will help make that connection.
Tools and information.
Exactly, yeah.
I interrupted you
no,
there,
you're
but
okay.
you're also providing the connection.
Yep. And so our job developer is going out in the community and networking with employers every single day. And so we're not just giving them a list of applications and say, hey, go apply to these places. We're actually connecting with that employer and explaining why it makes sense for them to hire one of our participants.
We're looking at some footage, I believe, from that environment. CEOworks.org is the website that you can find more information on who all can participate from the participant side of the fence here.
Absolutely, yeah. So anyone who's been released from prison or jail within the last 12 months and who is currently on probation or parole. And so we work with the State Department of Corrections and federal probation officers to receive all of our referrals for the program.
And from the business side of things, what sort of safety protocols might be involved?
Yeah, so when someone's in our program, we actually supervise them. So a full-time staff person from CEO is ensuring that we're being safe, ensuring that we are teaching, excellent employment skills. So anything that another employer would expect, like being on time, getting along with your coworkers, we're making sure that our participants are learning that while they're working on the cruise. So they get real feedback in real time while they're earning that daily paycheck. And then with full-time employers, we can vouch for our participants, right? They've been in our program for sometimes 2-3 months, and we know that they are a good employee, right? They've been working for us every day for that time period. And so when we refer someone to an employer, we're making a job match that we know is going to be successful.
And I mentioned the word safety. I guess there's a stigma right there. There's no assumption that needs to be made that anyone is safe or unsafe.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that we've found when we talk to employers is just educating them sometimes on the fact that whether you're hiring someone randomly through your online application portal or you're working with someone from CEO, you never know if someone's going to have a background. At least with CEO, we're able to say, hey, this person has made some mistakes, but here they are really trying to turn their life around, right? And they are actually really motivated to be an excellent employee, and we find that it's really successful.
I was just about to ask you, how is the success rate going? You guys have been here for about 5 years, maybe?
Yep, so we opened in August of 2013,
okay.
And we actually opened here in Oklahoma City partially in response to the tornadoes that came through the Moore area that year. And so when we first opened, for the entire first year we were here, we were doing tornado rebuilding and recovery work in the city of Moore. And so we started off doing that kind of work with our crews, and since then have transitioned to doing more permanent public works projects like streets and parks beautification and maintenance with the city of Moore, the city of OKC, and the city of Edmond.
Tell me more about the skill set that is needed, or is there any limitation on skill sets?
There is absolutely no requirements to be enrolled in our program. So many of the individuals that come to us may have never worked previously. And so that's part of our responsibility is hopefully they're learning some skills while they're on the job. Many individuals who come to us, they do have some work experience, and maybe they've have some sort of a trade that they acquired while they were incarcerated or previously. but we don't make that assumption, and we're not requiring anyone to apply with any sort of skill set. If they're referred by their probation officer and they want to work, they're welcome at CEO.
I mentioned the website, ceoworks.org. We're chatting here with Pat Bicklin, the CEO OKC director. And on this website, I see the office is based out of New York City, but you guys are across the U.S. in selected markets. Why Oklahoma City and Tulsa?
Yeah, great question. So, excuse me. So here in Oklahoma, we have one of the nation's highest incarceration rates per capita, and we have the nation's highest incarceration rate for women per capita. And so there's a need in Oklahoma City and Tulsa in particular, because thousands of individuals are coming home from prison and jail every year. And so when these individuals return, they're going to need everything from housing to employment. They're going to have fines and fees that they're going to have to pay back. And so income is a crucial piece of all of this. And for us, a job not only provides income, it also provides a sense of stability, a sense of pride, self-worth that allows them to transition back into the community and support their families. But we have so many individuals that need these services that it's actually a necessity here in Tulsa and OKC.
And you mentioned so many individuals. You recently celebrated a big benchmark there, 500 placements?
Yeah, so since we opened in 2013, we've now made over 500 full-time job placements with employers in the community. And so that's a big deal to us. That's a huge milestone on the path towards realizing our vision of, you know, anyone returning to the community with a background can have an opportunity to work. And we know that there's a lot more work to be done. 500 full-time placements is 500 individuals that are now able to, pay taxes, support their families,
sure.
Buy a car, or, pay rent, whatever it may be. But like I mentioned, there are thousands of individuals coming home who need these services, and many will be unemployed if they don't have an intervention like CEOs.
You mentioned that, you touched on it a little bit there, that sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. That has to be such a key win for individuals.
Yeah, so yesterday we actually celebrated this 500th placement with an event up at the Oklahoma Center for Nonprofits, and we had a couple of participants who spoke at that event, and they just touched on that exact fact, that sense of hope that when they came back to the community and they had a job was life-changing. And so that sense of hope, that sense of purpose, being able to just get up every day at whatever time it is, but be to work by 7 o'clock and have a productive day, earn a paycheck, be able to go home and your kids say, wow, my mom or my dad is doing a really great thing right now. That sense of pride was just palpable in them yesterday, explaining their stories. So I think it's definitely life-changing. As CEO, we know that a job can really turn someone's fortunes around.
Well, cool. Congrats to them and congrats to you. Pats, what's your background?
So my background, excuse me, I've been with CEO for 7 years now, okay. Almost 7 years. And prior to that, I actually taught middle school reading in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay. And so I taught middle school reading, and as I was doing that, I realized that I loved my students and my families, but being in the classroom wasn't quite for me. And so I wanted to continue to be involved with the community in some way, and it just so happened that the Center for Employment Opportunities was opening our Tulsa office in 2011, and I actually started as a job developer. So I was out there talking to employers and making those connections for our participants. And then when we were opening our office here in Oklahoma City, I was able to move here and open and run the office in OKC. So I have a background in education and also in social work. And it's just been a phenomenal place to work. It's been incredible to see the stories and the success of all of our participants in Tulsa and in Oklahoma City over the last several years.
When you're out in the community having conversations with businesses, what are some of the questions that they have for you?
Yeah, I mean, one of them is the one that you asked me earlier, right, about safety. And okay. I think for us, we just, again, kind of give the same answer that I gave earlier, that our participants are going to work really hard, and we know that individuals that are in our program are really motivated. And the reality nowadays, especially in Oklahoma, is that everyone knows someone who has had some involvement with the justice system, and so we try to make sure that that's kind of explained to them. But we also really emphasize the positive impact that it will have on their business by hiring someone from CEO, because again, we're making a job match that we know will be successful. We are not going to refer them someone who's not quite ready for a full-time job, right? If someone hasn't shown up to work every single day at CEO, we're going to continue to work with that person until their attendance improves. And then once that has happened, we will send them to a full-time employer. So we can say with confidence that you're hiring someone who we know is a good employee, who we know is actually going to stick around. You're not going to have that turnover. You're not going to have to waste time training more and more people. We can make that connection for you. So I think for us, the emphasis with businesses and with employers is that it really does benefit your company to hire someone from our program, to hire someone with a background.
Let's talk some nuts and bolts here real fast. That website again, ceoworks.org. And what I want to highlight here is there's a couple buttons here for businesses, for participants. Also, you can donate in some careers. But let's start with the For Businesses tab there.
Sure. So if someone is interested in, or if a business in the community has some job openings and they are interested in providing someone with a fair chance or in working with an individual from CEO, you can click on the For Businesses tab and learn more about us. And then also there's contact information for each of our local offices. You can reach out to us here in Oklahoma City and connect with one of our job developers who would be able to assist in making that connection for a participant for an open position.
And speaking of participants, there's the button for participants.
Yeah, so that's geared towards recruiting individuals who have returned to the community from prison and jail. And a lot of our individuals come from referrals from their probation and parole officer, but anyone who's coming out and who does have a recent criminal conviction can click on that and again gain more information, who to call, and what the steps need to be what steps need to be taken in order to enroll in our program.
You mentioned recent convictions and within the last 12 months. Why is that?
Well, so we know that we have the greatest impact on individuals when they are first returning to the community. And we know that at that point, they're oftentimes very motivated, but also very vulnerable, right? Many of our participants come back into a situation where they're homeless. Many come back, and if they're not homeless, they're staying with a family member or a friend. And there's a lot of pressure on them, right, to pay those fines and fees that I mentioned earlier. And so if we can attract someone to the program right away, we can get them attached to the workforce immediately, and we can get them headed in the right direction. And so we really emphasize trying to recruit folks that are really just returning to the community.
Interesting stuff. Again, more information on their website, ceoworks.org. It's Pat Vicklin right here, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO, OKC Director. Again, congratulations on the success of this program, the 500th placement. I guess one other thing we should mention, yesterday also a new partnership with the City of Oklahoma City.
Yeah, so about 6 months ago we actually started a partnership with the City of Oklahoma City, and this is one of our transitional employment crews that works with the Public Works Department, the Utilities Department, and their Field Services Department. And so every day now, 5 days a week with the City of Oklahoma City, there's a CEO work crew supervised by one of our staff members who is providing weed eating, lawn mowing, public works, litter removal, tree trimming, all these kinds of services. We're actually out at Lake Overholser today, clearing out some of the area around there, and it's been excellent for our participants who live in the community to be working within the neighborhoods that they live at, and it gives them an opportunity again to earn daily pay, but it's also for the city, they have the capacity now with our work crew to complete projects that they may not have otherwise been able to do.
One final question for you, sir. If people hear of this, watch this, or see it in other manners and they want to help out, how may they do so?
Yeah, so one way is obviously to go to the website and donate. We are a nonprofit organization, and those funds would go directly into participant services for the individuals who are here in our Oklahoma City community. We're also always on the lookout for folks who can come and help out with conducting mock interviews for our participants, because that's something it's a skill that we need to build. And if there are individuals out there who are interested in really helping out, helping our participants to learn how to speak with an employer in an interview is a really important skill that we're always trying to find folks from the business community who can assist with that.
That's not easy for any of us.
Yeah.
Pat Vicklin, ladies and gentlemen, again, the website ceoworks.org, the Center for Employment Opportunities. Pat, I enjoyed the conversation. Very nice to meet you, and again, congratulations.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.